Earlier this year, my grandmother passed away, just 6 weeks before her 98th birthday. The day before she passed, she was actually planning her 100th birthday party. She was a doer. I remember her saying to me a long time ago, "Better to wear out than rust out." Her mantra for life was KBO, keep buggering on, a phrase coined by Sir Winston Churchill during the Second World War. I think I'd underestimated the impact that her words would have on the direction of my life. I've been working with and studying the effects of posture for over 23 years, and we all, unwittingly, sabotage our psychological and emotional well-being, as well as our physical health, in the way that we sit, stand, and move, or more likely, don't move. You hear that sitting is the new smoking. Musculoskeletal disorders, with backache at the top of the list, is the #1 cause for absenteeism at work, closely followed by mental health issues, such as stress, leading to depression and anxiety. The mind and body are one system. What you do will affect how you feel, and how you feel will affect what you do. Now, as a species, we sit for longer periods of time than ever before, and I don't think it's a coincidence that those suffering with mental health issues appear to be at an all-time high. The creator of the Peanuts gang, Charles Schulz, published a cartoon strip in the Washington Post in 1949 that had Charlie Brown chatting to one of his lesser-known friends, explaining the importance of posture in relation to his mood. "This is my depressed stance," he demonstrates. "When you're depressed, it's very important how you stand. The worst thing you can do is straighten up and hold your head high, because then you start to feel better. If you're going to get any joy out of being depressed, you've got to stand like this." When you align your body, you align your mind. When you stack your skeleton correctly, you let the major muscle groups relax, conserving energy. A well-positioned rib cage improves breathing, getting more oxygen to the brain and carbon dioxide out of the blood, enhancing mental acuity and alertness. The lymphatic system is free to drain toxins from the body, and a shift in hormone levels can facilitate an overall sense of well-being and calm. Screens are the window through which so many of us see the world nowadays. We have television screens, computer screens, laptops, tablets, smartphones. And we are unwittingly changing the shape of our bodies to get the best possible view. The problem isn't so much the screen, more the amount of time spent on said screen. Screens encourage us to be physically passive, and the less you do, the less you will be able to do. However, the opposite is also true, and it's never too late to change your situation. It's important to understand, bad posture and reduced mobility are not a natural consequence of aging. Bad posture and reduced mobility as we age is simply a consequence of bad habits, and more often than not, reversible. Okay, before I continue, I think it's time we all had a great big stretch. So, reach for the sky. Come on, reach up, stretch, 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 stretch. Good. As you continue to stretch, notice how good it feels. The act of stretching feels good in the hope that you'll do it regularly. But do you? No, probably not as much as you should. Okay, relax. Now, if you own a cat or a dog, you will know the value they put on stretching. Nothing is more important than a stretch after prolonged rest for them. Now, I'm a trained falconer, amongst other things. Growing up, I had quite the menagerie in my garden. I had a buzzard, a pair of tawny owls, I had a crow called Jeff, cockatiels, quails, bantams, and 3 ducks, Jemima, Donald, and Petronella. Now, they were all orphans or injured and in need of care, but my feathered friends, without exception, all stretched the same way. Leg and a wing on one side, repeat on the other, back of the wings together. For them, it was instinctual, as it is for us in infancy. Just watch babies, preferably ones you know to avoid looking creepy. They stretch unconsciously as they wake before engaging in activity. As we age, we seem to forget this healthy habit. And yet stretching relieves tension, increases flexibility, improves mobility, and facilitates better alignment. So stretch, and stretch often. Gluteal amnesia and piriformis syndrome. Although perhaps unfamiliar terms, are commonplace and the cause of many knee and back problems. Gluteal amnesia is a consequence of excessive sitting. The gluteal muscles, or the buttocks, disengage. They simply forget how to work. So the hamstring becomes the prime muscle used to walk instead of the glutes. This tightens, pulling your pelvis down, flattening the buttocks, and perpetuating the problem. Now, tight hamstrings are also short. So if you can't touch your toes, you may well have gluteal amnesia. Now, the solution is to reactivate the buttocks. So you can do this through squats or hamstring stretches, and obviously sitting a lot less than you do. Take longer strides when you walk, and whenever possible, squeeze your buns. So you know what I'm going to ask you to do now? So squeeze and release, and squeeze and release. Good. Feel free to carry on. Piriformis syndrome. Now, this is a condition where the piriformis muscle that is deep inside each buttock shortens. The sciatic nerve runs very close to this muscle, and in some people, right through the center of the muscle itself. The shortening of the piriformis pushes against the sciatic nerve, and this can send pain all down the length of the leg, which can be acute and debilitating. Now, a common cause for piriformis syndrome is sitting on a wallet in the back pocket of trousers, creating a pelvic imbalance. Hence why piriformis syndrome is also known as fat wallet syndrome. So, if you have anything in your back pocket at this point, remove it now. You will thank me later. Find somewhere else to keep it from this point on. Now, piriformis stretches are very simple and effective for remedying this, as is something called the Emmett technique. This is something that I recently discovered, and it's a wonderful, almost magical muscle release method. Okay, now if you're not already the perfect example of seated posture, please adjust yourself. So sit yourself up. Good. Sitting on your sit bones, lovely and tall. Just think about stacking the bones of the spine from the bottom all the way up and then just resting the head on top. Good. Now, to stay upright like this takes a reasonable amount of core strength. So most of us, relatively quickly, will slide off the sit bones onto the tailbone, or we'll slouch over a desk, adopting that slouch position. So let's just all experience that. So slide down the seat of your chair. Good. Feels good, doesn't it? Because right now you're performing a stretch. You've taken the elongated S shape of your spine and you've pushed it into a capital C, the perfect stretch, if you were to hold it for 30 to 60 seconds. After that, it stops being beneficial. So right now, you are physically depressed. And if you're physically depressing yourself, you're mentally depressing yourself. And that's depressing, isn't it? So, if you are able, get to your feet. So stand yourselves up. And we'll have another stretch. So reach up to the sky. Good. Stretch, 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 stretch. Lovely. And relax your arms. And now give the buttocks a bit of a slap. Let's wake them up. Your own buttocks, please. And lovely, right, seat yourselves down, push your bums as far back in the seat as possible, sit on those sit bones, and then just lean back. Let the back of the chair support you. It was while working in further and higher education that I saw postural problems on the horizon with the availability and popularity of mobile phones. And sure enough, text neck is the latest condition to accompany the modern age. Teenagers in particular are experiencing excruciating pain in their neck and shoulders as a direct result of poor posture from using a mobile phone. Now, your head is roughly the weight of a medium-sized bowling ball. It's about 12 pounds. When you angle your head by just 15 degrees, you have increased the effective weight on your neck and spine to 27 pounds. Increase that angle to 45 degrees, the optimum texting angle, and you've increased that weight to a whopping 49 pounds. Now, apparently, that is the combined weight of 2 pugs and a house cat. And as a pug owner, I'm telling you, that's heavy. So, the answer. You can lift your phone up to use it, looking ahead more. Use your phone an awful lot less. And you can stretch out the affected neck muscles by simply sliding your head back, tucking your chin as you do so, lifting the back of the skull very slightly so that you stretch the neck muscles. Do this for about 30 seconds, and then repeat regularly throughout your day. Now, there is one thing that I'd noticed from my years of working with posture that can significantly and easily improve your overall health and well-being. If you were to have a physical injury, or trauma, as I like to call it, say you broke your leg, the body will naturally turn and twist in on the injured area, seemingly to protect it. Now, a lot of people's postural problems occur because their bodies unnecessarily stay in this position long after the injury is healed. So a good physical therapist will address this during recuperation. Now, I noticed that working with people with emotional trauma, including anxiety, depression, these people would adopt differing degrees of a fetal position. They would effectively cave in around the heart, what we associate as the emotional center, as if to protect it. So the body was responding in the same way to emotional trauma as it would to physical trauma. And I found when I got people to lift their sternum or the breastbone, I would see a positive emotional shift happen after an initial sense of vulnerability. Physically opening up, exposing the heart, our emotional center, can feel incredibly overwhelming, but also immensely empowering. So everyone now, just let your breastbone drop. So you've sort of just collapsed your upper body. Keeping everything lovely and relaxed, all you're going to do now is focus on lifting the breastbone. Take it as high as you can. Everything else is relaxed. Now, the first thing that you might notice is that you want to take in a deep breath, because this simple move actually positions the rib cage for optimum breathing. The next thing you might notice is that you've engaged the muscles in your lower back, because you've put your spine in better alignment. So the postural muscles are now engaged to hold you in that position. So simple, yet so effective. Now, I'm a huge fan of superheroes, have been, almost to geek level, which is why I called my company Superhumans. Now, I think there's a reason why superheroes are super. Superheroes have their emblem on their chest over their heart. And all superheroes show off their superhero emblem with courage and pride, physically opening out. So it's time for us all to embrace our inner superhero. So it's at this point that you can get out your superhero cape, You did bring your superhero cape, didn't? So, just me then. Okay, it's all right, this will still work. We can do this. Do you like it? I made it myself. I took up sewing last year. Never saw that one coming. So I'd like to thank the man on the internet who posted how to make an exact replica of Christopher Reeve's Superman 1 cape. Because this is it. Okay, so if you would kindly get yourself to your feet, we're going to embrace our inner superhero. So taking your feet apart, make sure they're nicely firmly planted on the floor. Fists on hips. Shoulders relaxed. And what you're going to do before we do anything else, you're going to imagine your own superhero emblem on your chest. Now, if you don't already have an alter ego, then just imagine your initial on your chest, okay? Keeping everything else relaxed, you're just now going to show the world your superhero emblem. Excellent. And breathe. Empowering posture will empower your thoughts and feelings. Every single one of you has the capability to be a superhuman. Thank you. And remember, as Charlie Brown pointed out, the worst thing you can do is straighten up and hold your head high. So stand tall, look ahead, and keep buggering on. And the great thing of finishing a talk here is I've just orchestrated a standing ovation. So thank you very much.